Protesters marched amidst a river of torches and signs saying Ukraine above all else.
The protest camp on Kiev's main square hosted funerals and memorial services Saturday as thousands of people came out to mourn protesters cut down by police attacks and sniping. In spite of Friday's political deal for new elections and other concessions by President Viktor Yanukovuch, protesters took over his office and residences, and police withdrew. Many want him to resign, and there were reports he had done so, but from his power base near the Russian border, he denied. Indeed, these protests started when President Yanukovych pulled back from an economic agreement with the European Union and made one with Russia instead. That decision could be reversed if Friday's agreement is fulfilled, but that became less and less clear as the day went on. A rebellious parliament passed a series of laws the president said he won't sign, so it voted to fire him.
Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych is wanted by police for mass murder of peaceful civilians, according to an arrest warrant that is being pursued by the country's acting interior minister. Arsen Avakov said on Monday that an arrest warrant has been drafted for Yanukovych, who fled the capital Kiev on Saturday following months of political upheaval that escalated into bloodshed. A criminal case has been launched over the mass murder of peaceful civilians. Yanukovych and a number of other officials have been put on a wanted list, Avakov said in a statement on his Facebook account. However, the warrant had yet to be finalized by the attorney.
He will recognize the outcome of Sunday's presidential election in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin says Russia will respect the choice of the Ukrainian people and will work with the new leadership. And it's widely believed the comments are Putin's attempt to de-escalate the crisis in Ukraine, also to begin mending ties with the G7 nations and the European Union, which have imposed sanctions against
Ukraine are decisive in building up their future.
That's Petro Poroshenko, Ukraine's new president-elect. The so-called chocolate king won a decisive victory in Sunday's presidential election, a ballot that included 21...
that the Russians intend to deliver heavier and more powerful multiple rocket launchers to the separatist forces in Ukraine, and have evidence that Russia is firing artillery from within Russia to attack Ukraine.
Ukrainian friends have to know that they are not alone, because the European Union stands ready to support Ukraine in more or less all the matters, mainly as far as the territorial integrity of the country is concerned, the sovereignty of Ukraine, the independence of Ukraine. That's the reason why the European Union has prolonged the sanctions which are dedicated to Russia. As I explained the other day to President Putin, the more Minsk implementation there will be, the less sanctions.
Consider Russia's annexation of Crimea and further aggression in eastern Ukraine. America has few economic interests in Ukraine. We recognize the deep and complex history between Russia and Ukraine. But we cannot stand by when the sovereignty and territorial integrity of a nation is flagrantly violated. If that happens without consequence in Ukraine, it could happen to any nation gathered here today. Imagine if instead Russia had engaged in true diplomacy and worked with Ukraine and the international community to ensure its interests were protected. That would be better for Ukraine, but also better for Russia and better for the world, which is why we continue to press for this crisis to be resolved.